Hey guys, it's Marshall Ting with your Superior Ag Insurance Ringside Report for this past week, the week of December 4th through the 10th. So we started off December pretty strong here across the state of Kentucky in our auction barns and markets across the state. We sold 26,721 head of cattle through our barns this past week. Now, what's that compared to? Compared to last week, we're actually up about 500 head. More than we had this time last week, but on a yearly basis, I think this time last year we sold 2,800 head and change, so you're down about 2,200 head from what it was a year ago. But that's still pretty on par for what's going on. We're about to close out this year. A lot of auction markets only have this week and next week, and just a few are open the last little bit. But you're pretty much getting down to crunch time. This is your last 2 weeks to market your cattle as a whole across the state of Kentucky and across the country as far as that's concerned. Now, what's this market doing? So your cattle market's going to be a little bit spotty. You're seeing a boatload of buyer selectivity on these. Again, weaned and preconditioned cattle are really going to be selling at a premium right now. Your greener type yearlings really selling at a premium. Everything else is kind of looking at a discount or just a little bit of hesitation, so to speak, as they're not really going after it like what we would normally like to see. So what they call them actually on paper, well, your feeder steers and heifers call them unevenly steady. Your yearlings call those $2 to $3 lower. But just to give you a retrospect on everything, even your cows and your bulls, cows were down $2 to $3, bulls were steady to $2 down. So just about everything's down across the board, and that's just what's going on. But like I said, you're seeing a whole lot of buyer selectivity, flesh, condition, kind, color. All those things are going into effect right now just because there's so many cattle, so many things going on, and if they can put a pencil to it and make it just a little bit tighter on the bottom line, they're probably going to do it. Now, that being said, the top end of your cattle are still trading extremely high right now. We saw some four weights that were trading astronomical, and we had some really good numbers on our yearlings as well. But let's talk about these real fast. So your lightweight cattle, your feeder cattle, four weight steer cattle this week, $1.51 to $222.50. That seems like a huge spread, and it is. It's about $71.50 on a spread. Like I said, selectivity, buyer selectivity on these things right now is having a huge impact on the bottom end of things. You know, there the last couple of weeks we saw your gap kind of tighten up. Now it's right back on a bigger spread of things. Now your five weights, not as bad, only a 62-cent spread on them, but you're looking at $1.40 to $2.02 on your five weight cattle. So a little bit more like what we've been used to. But you're really seeing, like I said, anything that's got a touch of color to it, flesh, knows what its mama is. There's a whole list of things that goes on, but you're seeing a little bit of buyer selectivity on those. Now, let's talk about your yearling cattle. So yearlings, as far as the state's concerned, they called them $2 to $3 down, and I will say as a whole they are down just a little bit. So as far as all the eight weights that I looked at, all your eight weight yearlings, you're looking at an average of most of them being between $1.70 to $1.75. I would say 71 to 73 is going to catch the biggest part of them. Now, also being said, these highlights I'm fixing to read off to you are astronomical. And in many cases, we beat the CME feeder cattle index on these. And it's just going to show you that the right kind of cattle are still bringing a premium. I just think there's such a surplus of them right now and some hesitation. Plus, we had a little bit of weather affecting things out west. You know, they were calling for snow, and we've had rain here. It's hard to start cattle in a rainstorm. It's hard to start cattle in a snowstorm, especially if they're not backgrounded properly. And I do think that had just a little bit of an impact on the market. But enough about bad news. Let's talk about the good news. That's what I like to say. Stay positive. Let's talk about these yearlings now. Here's 134 head to start us off. These aren't true eight weights, but they're right there on it. These are going to be black steers, just a sprinkling of Charolais in them. 775 pounds on the average, $1.80. Pretty good. Now, here's 60 head of these. I really like this number on these, and I saw these cattle personally myself. They were the kind. All black, tight sort, tight backed, good set of cattle now. 60 head of these, all black steers, 803 pounds on the average, $1.79.50, and they were the kind, I'm telling you. Now, here's another set of them. Here's 59 head of these. These are all black steers as well. 869 pounds on the average, $1.75 and a quarter. So getting back a little bit closer to that average that we're used to seeing, but still selling at a premium over some of the others. Now, to close off, here's your heavies. Here's 61 head of these. These are all black steers as well. 889 pounds on the average, $1.73 flat. So that's kind of more what we're expecting to see, but you're also on the high end of your eight weights versus your low end of your eight. So just keep that in mind. Also, on a positive note, we sold a world of Holsteins across the state of Kentucky this past week. And let me tell you, that Holstein market, I guess where they're not making them anymore, They are bringing money. Here we go. Check these out now. Start off here. Here's 72 head of these. 71 head of these heads. 71 head of these Holstein steers. 722 pounds on the average. $1.40 flat. That is killer for a Holstein. Now check it out here. Here's a 60 head of these. These are a bit heavier now. 860 pounds on the average. Even better. $1.41.50. And then we've got a really big set of them here. Here's 50 head of these. 1,106 pounds on a Holstein steer. $1.23.50. Holstein business seems pretty good from where I'm at. So if you're in the Holstein business, it's looking pretty opportunistic if you want to ask me. But now let's compare this to the CME feeder cattle index. So again, most of our 8-weight cattle that we've sold this past week, you're looking at $1.70 to $1.75. That's going to be underneath of this CME feeder cattle index by a pretty good piece. Like I said, our highlights did beat it, but as a whole, $1.70 to $1.73.45 is going to be under the CME for the week. But the good news is the CME this week was consistent. Not much change in it. It went up on Tuesday and stayed pretty level from there. So let's talk about it. Monday the 5th, we were at 178.53. By the time Tuesday the 6th came around, your CME feeder cattle index was 179.03. By the time Wednesday the 7th, 179.23. Thursday the 8th, 179.22. And then we closed out the week the 9th, Friday the 9th at 179.94. So pretty steady on that CME feeder cattle index. But just to go and give you an example now, I mean, you're right at a $4 difference on the norm of your 8-weight cattle. Like I said, we did have some that did surpass it, but as a whole, you're going to be back just about $4 to $5 on them, which really isn't too bad. Given all circumstances and everything, the fact that we are in Kentucky and not in the Midwest, right there in the beef belt, so to speak. So that's everything that we want to talk about for the week. Now, if you have an LRP policy, a livestock risk protection policy, if you have any questions on that, or if you're interested in putting in a livestock risk protection policy, we just talked about this. This market can do crazy things, and there's a lot of volatility on the high side and the low side of putting these cattle in right now. As far as your lightweight feeders are concerned. So if you've got any questions on an LRP policy, feel free to reach out to us. Call Ian Thomas at Superior Ag Insurance. That's Ian Thomas, 859-613-2453, or check us out on the web, www.superioragins.com. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.